Alright, here we are. Welcome to day 0 of my 21-day animation challenge. If you didn't see my first video, check it out. I've challenged myself to spend 21 days and at the end of that have a completed short animated film. I started out with nothing yesterday, and for the past 2 days I've been making some progress. So I've come up with a story idea, as well as gotten started on the designing the characters, look and feel. So they're not fully fleshed out yet. I haven't done turnarounds or anything like that, but like you can see right now, I'm drawing in the screen, and this is me fiddling around with what I think the characters are going to look like. Yes, I do draw this fast. I thought I'd try and give a little bit of content in these videos, make it a little bit more interesting, and hopefully we can teach some people some things. And, you know, as they say, the best way to learn is to teach, so I can hopefully teach myself some stuff too. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I conquer the blank page, that scary blank page, which is, you know, a different for everybody. Artists need to conquer that blank page, whether it's with a pencil, a brush, digital canvas. So how I go about doing it is I like to create rules. I think the most important thing in creation is saying no to all of the hundreds and hundreds of millions of possibilities that something could be. You know, if I want to create a story, I've got an infinite canvas, which is wonderful, but it's also terrifying because I don't know what I'm going to do. And I would struggle with this when I had to make my animated short film when I was actually in school for animation. It took me weeks to come up with my story. And I finally came up with something. And here I am 10 plus years later, and I've come up with a story idea for a short film in, you know, less than 24 hours. It took me half a day of thinking and planning and what I wanted to do. So how did I go about doing that? I think the biggest thing that artists need to overcome is that lack of ability to say no to everything else that an idea could be. The thing the artist needs to do is overcome the fear of saying no to an idea. That's my biggest issue, is I love every single idea that I come up with. So the first thing you need to do is decide what something is going to be. The instant you decide what it is going to be, you're saying no to every other idea that thing could have been. If you make your main character in a story a koala bear, then you're saying no to the main character being a chimpanzee or a spoon or a sea sponge or anything else. So that's the first thing you need to overcome, is just all of the potential. You need to start to decide and say goodbye to that potential. Because really what you're doing is you're taking the blank page, which is potentially everything, and you're narrowing it down from everything to a lot fewer things until eventually you reach what the idea is, and that can really only be one thing. So that's the difficult part. So you need to get past that fear of rejecting ideas, what something could be. The best way to do that is to start laying down rules. So for this animated short, I put down rules for the piece. I knew my purpose for what this short is going to be, which was a bit of a portfolio builder. I knew I wanted to have certain things in it. I knew I wanted to have at least one character, but I knew I wanted it to be a short film, so I needed to have maximum 2 characters. I wanted to be able to show design variation in characters. I also wanted to be able to have props. I wanted to do things like have camera motions, so a zoom in or a zoom out, a pan down, across. I wanted to show camera movement. I wanted to put in things like a transformation. Those were rules that I set about giving myself a box to work within. After I've set down rules, the best way to go about it was think about interests. So what am I interested in? I am a father. I've been thinking a lot about my sons. I have a 2-year-old and a 3.5-month-old. And I've been thinking a lot about how they're going to interact as they grow older. I use that for the story. So I'm not going to get into the story right now. I'll save that for another day. Let's just say the story centers around the idea of my 2 sons playing and using their imaginations together. And from there, it's just using my knowledge of story and putting together a beginning, a setup, a middle, and an end, and make it a complete story, which I feel like I have. I'll be putting the actual story idea out there in a future video, and I'll let everybody else decide if it actually is a good story idea. What you've been seeing in the background, a little speed drawing here, is me figuring out the beginning of character design. Tomorrow, day 1, the challenge officially begins when I download the animation software. I'll be sharing the software that I'm using. I think I said it in the last video, but I'll share the actual software, some links and everything so everybody can see where I'm getting it from, and maybe some people can join me. Hope you've enjoyed the last couple videos. Hope you keep getting stuff out of it. I'll see you later.